Bring them back.
Epistolary, codicier, and lexicanum.
Yup.
It's like epistolary because it's got the word piss in it.
More like a piss boy.
A piss boy Larry.
Larry the piss boy.
Larry the piss boy. It's perfect. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 40k Badcast. My name is Dan Boyd, Dapper Dan Boyd, and that over there is Contagious Campbell McLaughlin. Campbell, how are you feeling?
I was hoping for comely Campbell McLaughlin, but I'll take Contagious, sure.
I was going to go with originally Campbell the Cuck McLaughlin.
Oh, come on, man. Keep that shit in, like, fucking Reddit politics threads.
Oh, we are friends. We are friends having fun with our podcast. Okay, today we are on our 7th episode of the 40k Badcast. And Campbell, do you know what that means?
I think that corresponds to a certain holy number of a certain holy someone.
A holy, with a W, gross someone. The All-Father, not the All-Father, the Plaguefather, Papa Nurgle, old Messi himself. We're dedicating this episode to Nurgle, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, but let's start out with the auspecs. Let's start out with what's on our hobby radar. Campbell, you go first.
Oh, so yeah, what's new? Just got back from Adepticon with that renewed energy to just get working on everything. So I've been hashing away at a big old squad of autocan dudes for my Heresy Ultras, and I'm hoping to go right into some Black Templars after that. But as for new releases and stuff, man, Shadow War Armageddon, it's kind of a big looming specter over the whole thing that no one can actually buy because it's sold out everywhere.
I bought it.
But yeah, and I hate you.
Yeah, so I went to the local Games Workshop here in, I guess the Games Workshop is in Springfield, and I asked them, I was like, hey, am I going to be able to purchase this when it actually hits stores? And they're like, well, you should probably pre-order it to make sure. I'm like, well, can I pre-order it? And they're like, no, it's sold out. I'm like, well, what the fuck, man? So dude was like, well, we're going to have some store copies, so if you show up early on Saturday, you might be able to get one. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll give that a shot. I had to wake up early anyways because I was taking my dad to the airport. So I did that, and then I got to Games Workshop, opened at 11, and I got there around 10:45, and there's already a dozen or so nerds hanging out. And as soon as I walked up, the dudes were like, are you here for Shadow War Armageddon? I was like, yeah. And they're like, all right, you are number 7. And I'm like, what does this mean? And they're like, well, they only have 10 copies for sale. So you get the 7th copy. And I was like, oh, shit, that's good, I guess. And while I was waiting, a few more people showed up, and they went up to number 12.
Whoa.
So
poor guys.
At least 2 people didn't get their copies, but I got my copy.
I mean, that's probably 8 more copies than any of my local stores got. I checked one today, I checked one Saturday, and just got nothing.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really happy about this because I'm not going to be collecting any new kill teams for it because I already have Marines and tons of scouts from my Raven Guard, and I have a whole fuck ton of Armageddon Steel Legion, which are, some would say, apropos in the setting. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to be collecting anything new, but I'm really looking forward to playing it. I'm really happy that I got it because the book itself is pretty cool with, really just reskinned Necromunda rules and a little bit simplified. But the terrain, my friend.
Oh my God, I want that terrain so fucking bad.
I'm moving into a new apartment in July, and I'm going to have room to set up a gaming table, which is something I can't do in my tiny apartment right now. And so I'm really looking forward to taking this terrain and having it be the start of my terrain collection so I can play at home.
Yeah, it's going to be a great core to any terrain collection. I do think it is kind of fucked up that it's like Armageddon, big thing, and on the front are not Armageddon Steel Legion, but some old Blood Angel Scout models that were made in like 2004. And
it's funny you should say that, actually, because in the book art for... there's very, very little Armageddon presence. There's that one Adrian Wood picture that you've seen on my computer is the start screen for my computer with, Goskul coming over the trench and the terrified Armageddon soldiers shooting back at him. Mm-hmm. There's that one picture, and then the rest of it's all Cadians and Catachans. Mm-hmm. And I understand why they did this, because those are the models that show up when you go to the Games Workshop website. They don't have new models for Armageddon Steel Legion, so I don't think they wanted to push the Armageddon Steel Legion too hard. But to me, Shadow War Armageddon is not fought with Space Marine Scouts, but it's fought with Armageddon Steel Legionnaires.
No, it is fought with terrified dudes with barely working laser rifles that'll explode half the time. That's Necromunda to me anyway.
Well, yeah, that's ammo rolls are back in the game. Combat is weird and convoluted like it used to be. Though not as much as pure Necromunda. I think this combat's probably closer to Gorka Morka, or maybe second edition 40k combat.
Yeah.
So still, it's a lot of fun. Well, it looks like it should be a lot of fun, but I had an experience on Sunday, Campbell.
Oh, how was it?
So I went to the store ostensibly to get a pickup game of Shadow War going, because I am not in any of the campaign that they're running there, and I just wanted to go try to get a one-off game. And it's Sunday afternoon, and I walk in, and there's these two guys who are playing Shadow War. There's a couple of guys painting. You got the Games Workshop employee there. So these two dudes are playing Shadow War, and I know one of the guys. I'm not going to say his name, but I know one of the guys, and he is one of my least favorite people that you could potentially play against at the Springfield Games Workshop. He's a nice enough guy when you're not playing. Like he's friendly. He's a little too energetic, but it's fucking nerd hobby. So what do you do?
It's fine. Happens.
But the thing about this guy is he cheats like crazy.
Ugh.
Every model gets like an inch or two of extra movement.
Cool.
In the not only in the movement phase, but also in the shooting phase if he needs to nudge one in range.
Oh my god. Good.
He constantly understands rules, and the misunderstanding is always to his benefit. He rolls extra dice. He argues every single rule that makes his guys worse or makes your guys better, and it's just a real pain in the ass to play this guy.
Yeah,
and
sounds like a great dude.
And the problem is, like, I'm not going into the fucking situation trying to be like, hey, check it out, this is how you play the game, asshole. I'm not trying to do that. So it's very awkward. When I played this guy once, 40k, in probably 5th edition, and I haven't played him since, and I don't plan on ever playing him again because it's a pain in the fucking ass.
And people don't really. And I'm guessing he's not like a teenager, like has space to grow up.
He's a gray hair guy. He's older than me.
Yeah.
He's probably 20 to 25 years older than me.
No, this is just who he is, and it's probably never going to change. So,
right.
Yeah,
So,
no, just avoid.
Yeah, and I don't need a game that bad. You know what I mean?
No.
So
no.
I walk. I see he's playing. I'm like, all right, maybe somebody else is around. Maybe the guy who he's playing is okay. Maybe I can get a game after they're done. And the guy he was playing was like this probably 16-year-old kid who was just as bad.
Oh, Christ.
Just unkempt, just greasy. Like his hair was short, but you could tell like he probably hadn't showered all weekend.
Yeah, I know the type.
He's wearing an honest-to-God fucking wolf shirt. Like howling at the fucking moon, one of those fucking wolf shirts.
Like 3 Wolf Moon?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
God.
it only had one wolf on it, so it wasn't exactly 3 wolves strong, but
God.
he had a fucking wolf shirt on. And when I was 16, I made some bad fashion choices.
Yeah, we all did.
But when I was 16, I didn't have the fucking internet telling me what not to do every single fucking second of the day. I didn't have help from strangers like kids nowadays do. So yeah, he was wearing like fucking sweatpants.
Oh God, I was gonna ask if he had cargo shorts on, but sweatpants is probably the next best.
Sweatpants. I didn't see what kind of shoes he was wearing, but sweatpants, a wolf shirt, just
dude, I bet like
pimply
big
and
black,
unwashed.
I bet he was wearing like big black Nikes that might have been Velcro. Like,
I don't know,
Christ.
man. And like this dude was like, again, he was cheating too. He was using Harlequins, which, as watching the game, it seemed like a very strong kill team in Shadow War Armageddon.
When he's using them,
they never get pinned and they move like crazy. But this dude was like, they were jumping like 20 inches around the table every movement phase, and it was. So I was watching it, and again, it's not my game, so I'm not gonna sit there and be like, "That's not how that rule works." excuse me, that's not how you play.
You don't be that guy.
I'm not gonna fucking do it. So yeah, just a total mess. So I was watching this and I was like, fuck, man, if I got to play these assholes, I'd rather not. So I just went home and painted instead.
Well, like, I got 2 separate invites to a Shadow Armageddon League at that store that I fucking shit talked like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And I just shook my head and they said, I understand both times.
Yeah, like this is something that I should probably look into deeper for maybe a different game store in the area. Yeah. Might have a better crowd for it.
Because like the game looks,
at least in the Springfield, Virginia area and the DC area, the Games Workshop is usually the lowest common denominator of like quality opponents to play. Whereas you can go to the independent stores and usually find better opponents or better people.
Yeah, I hear that completely. I've got enough friends who are interested who don't actually like live around here and don't go to those stores that I can hang out with and play games with those. So I should be able to get some Shadow Armageddon in there.
I do really look forward to trying to get involved in a campaign because it does seem like a ton of fun.
Yeah, and it actually has a win condition in it that I don't think Necromunda had. Or if Necromunda did have it, I wasn't aware of it. But it's like whoever gets 12 Prometheum stashes and wins their last game without using any of them to buy a mercenary actually wins the campaign.
That is correct, but I think it's 15, not 12.
Okay, whatever. Either way, they win a bunch of games, you get a bunch of things.
Right.
Like, I loved Necromunda so goddamn much, and this is just right back in there. And I'll just play the same people I used to play Necromunda with, and they'll be happy to bring out some of their actual 40k models for it.
The one thing I wish for this game had was more granular progression. Because right now, it's just at the end of the game, you select somebody who survived to get an advance.
Oh.
And you get 1 per game.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer. I get it for like record keeping purposes, but
makes it a whole lot easier.
I really liked having like a gang of guys where it's like, oh, this guy can shoulder throw people even though he's the heavy weapons guy, and this dude over here, he got shot in the leg, so he now has a bum leg, but he has hatred against a specific guy who shot him.
Yeah, that's still in there.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, I mean it's still far more granular than 40k could ever be, but it's not to the detail that Necromunda was, which I guess is a little disappointing, but at the same time, like Necromunda, I mean, that was, I think probably a lot more people worked on Necromunda for a longer time.
Necromunda is also very much like, it was the 90s. That's what 90s gaming is, a lot of bookkeeping.
Yeah, that's right. And this one not so much. So yeah, I'm looking forward to really getting my hooks into it here. I think it's got the potential to be a lot of fun, at least.
Agreed.
Okay, so before we move on, is there anything else in the Auspex you want to talk about?
Well, actually, the rulebook for Shadow Armageddon. It's coming.
Fucking good guy GW showing up all of a sudden.
Yeah, because like I guess they didn't expect the game to actually sell out everywhere, so they're making a run of rulebooks with like extra rules included, and they're taking a little while. They said they're doing pre-orders. They're doing pre-orders for like 7 weeks instead of just the usual 2 because they're not They are having to print all this stuff basically on demand because they don't have a stockroom full of this stuff. They're just making it new.
I think it's fantastic.
I think it's fantastic, too.
I honestly probably would have just bought the rulebook if I thought that was going to be an option going into this. But I'm glad I got the whole thing for the terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the terrain is fucking tight, dude.
Well, if you need to dump off those ancient shitty plastic models, just send them my way.
I might be able to do that for you. I don't plan on using any of them.
Yeah, I need more neophytes, and I could always use more orc boys.
You never have too many orc boys.
Ever. So,
it says that in the Bible.
Yeah, it's in the good book. Book is spelled with a B-U-K.
There you go.
Shit. But yeah, all right, cool. One more thing. So, I know a lot of folks out here on the East Coast have not gotten their copies of White Dwarf yet, and I sent a complaint.
I got mine.
Well, you go to the store to get it. I subscribe.
This is true.
And both me and a bunch of my buddies, basically everyone in the Boston, Massachusetts area, has not gotten their copy in yet. But so I bitched to GW, and they're sending me another one and saying they're changing distributors next month, so hopefully they can fix this. Because I've gotten my White Dwarf reliably 2 weeks late every single month.
That sucks, man. Getting the White Dwarf is, I feel lame saying it, but one of my favorite parts of the month.
Dude, it's like a giddy, childish thing. Like when I was a kid and I'd get the Lego magazine every month, it's the same sort of thing. Like I'm just waiting for that to show up in my mailbox. So I'm hoping they'll actually come a little bit more timely now. before everyone on the internet spoils the entire fucking issue.
For your sake, I hope it works out like that. I actually like picking them up from the store because it's usually like one Friday a month. I'll like actually drive to work and then like go get lunch off campus, if you will.
Yeah.
And I take a quick stop at Games Workshop to pick up the new White Dwarf. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, you've heard me talk about my local game store and how much I basically avoid that like a demilitarized zone. So
yes, it's true.
Yep.
Not the best.
So, not the best. So let's move on to the next topic.
All right. So the next thing, they last week Games Workshop said that they were going to introduce a new wave of made-to-order minis, and this time they were going to do old Blood Bowl teams. So we got to thinking, what do we really want to see out of the made-to-order? And this is it. This is our made-to-order wish list.
Yeah.
Covering really only 40K.
Yeah, because like you could spend all day in other games, but we wanted to focus on we wanted to talk about the made-to-order thing for a little bit, and every time we've thought about talking about it, it's already happened. And it seemed for a while like they weren't going to do it again, because there was a good few months like after the Demonettes and all that stuff came out where they just didn't do it. And then out of the blue, here comes a bunch of old Blood Bowl teams like Chaos Dwarfs and Hobgoblins and all that. Which
is a very effective team in Blood Bowl.
And I'm just happy to see those old sculpts, people buying them again. Makes me happy.
I love the old Bull Centaurs.
Yee.
I don't think Forge World did any Bull Centaur-ish dudes for their Chaos Dwarf run, did they?
Not that I'm aware of. Maybe I don't even think the Forge World like event exclusive dude that you can only give at Warhammer World is a Bull Centaur.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to.
I just know they have cool ass land trains.
Oh no, they did.
Oh, they did. Okay,
yeah, I'm
cool.
looking at them right now.
All right, cool. I just remember the cool ass land trains. That's all that matters to me.
I do like some land trains. The only thing I like more than land trains is man trains. Woo! Oh yeah, these could easily be turned into
Slaanesh episode's back there, Dan.
Oh, it is. Is it back there?
It's all the way around the back.
It's getting weird already. All right, so we are going to talk about our 40K made-to-order wish list. And we took a look through a couple of the old miniature catalogs. My favorite from 1996 that had a lot of great old minis in it.
Yeah, that's kind of the era they're drawing a lot of these from. Like, they've taken a few Road era models, but mostly it's been mid-late 90s models, which is kind of weird.
I mean, I was a young boy in 1996, and I remember having this catalog and basically destroying it by using it.
Yeah,
you know, just opening it and looking at all the sweet black and white pictures and models every day. It was really cool.
Yeah, just like metal models washed black and photographed on really low quality paper. It's the best.
Did they wash them black for that?
Yeah, you have to wash metal models black because otherwise it's just a glaring mess that you can't actually make any details on.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so starts with Space Marines naturally, and I was immediately drawn to the Tech Marine on a bike. Because he's just got a big fucking wrench, and he's riding around in the old Space Marine bike.
Yep.
If you remember those, which were, I don't know, much more close to what actual bikes look like.
It was more like a big dirt bike with guns in the wheels, and less like the Lawmaster that Judge Dredd rides.
That's correct. Yeah, it's great. So it's a dude. He's just, I'm looking at it right now. He just has a big fucking wrench.
Yeah,
he's got his little beaky armor because I guess these guys are a little older than.
Those are Rogue Trader minis.
Right, these are great, man. With the wings on top of the bikes or on top of the front fenders or whatever you call them, handlebars. I don't fucking know anything about motorcycles. Yeah, really cool. That's one of my favorite models. That the chaplain, the bike chaplain there, the old one.
Yeah, I also like there was an old bike apothecary too, who's just a dude riding a bike with a chainsaw, and I don't know how he can heal anybody when he's on a motorcycle with a chainsaw, but I'm sure he does the job somehow. It's a great mini.
It's the worst looking chainsword.
Yeah, it's like a doofy, dinky little Fisher Price chainsword.
But he's sharing a page with a few of my other favorite models from this time around, and it's the Inquisitor Terminators and the Grey Knight Terminators. These models, I love them. I have, for my Grey Knight army, my Grand Master, I guess, is the old Grey Knight Terminator with the two-handed sword.
Oh, that one's sweet.
It's a sweet fucking model.
I love all those dudes. And those guys also were kind of the first try with the Guardian Spears that the Custodes get now.
Yeah, so actually, with the bolter spears or the bolter swords.
Yeah, so I always loved the old Granite Terminators, and I sold a squad of them years ago, I think, to Craig Sniffen. But I would love to get a new squad of those guys and add them to my Retro Ultras.
You hear me sniffing? Coming after you.
Or I'm not coming after you if I didn't sell it to you and I got the wrong guy.
Or not.
Either way, I would love to see the Granite Terminators come back as a made-to-order thing, especially because the old ones were mostly made still in lead, and I'd like to get those in a slightly less toxic alloy.
Oh, that'd be helpful.
But, yeah, it'd be nice. Made them easy to pin, though.
So next on my list is the World Eater of the Chaos Space Marine Persuasion with the two-handed chain axe.
Oh, that guy's so sick.
I mean, he's monopose. He's tiny. He looks tiny compared to his friends on the same page. But man, oh man, is that a cool pose with that sweet, sweet long axe. And there's actually on the same page, there's a bunch of World Eaters with bolters below him.
Yeah. They don't do those anymore, but there were a bunch with two-handed bolt guns back then, and there was art and some conversions of ones with heavy weapons at the time too that never got released.
That's so cool.
So if we're talking old school Chaos Marines to bring back, I want the old Noise Marine with the guitar gun, the high heels, and the giant mohawk.
Yes,
I want a squad of those guys.
I see him. I'm looking at him.
I love the model so fucking much, and I've only got one of that guy, and getting those guys are expensive as hell
you have
on eBay.
One?
I have one.
Oh, you lucky duck.
Yeah. I just happened to get him when I was collecting a bunch of retro models.
That's so cool. And so next, I came across the entirety of the second edition Orc range. So when I was a kid, I had a bunch of these Orc models because I liked Orcs, as most normal people do.
As anyone should.
And was hit by a wave of nostalgia looking at these guys. Man, these models were such a pain in the ass to put together because they were these tiny little hunched over orcs in metal with these fiddly little bullshit plastic arms, sort of like Malifaux miniatures, weird miniatures company, that they make the Malifaux game, and they have the tiniest, fiddliest fucking bits for those models, and these orc arms were the same fucking thing. They were tiny, and you got. You fucking lose them. They fall the fuck off because you're gluing metal to plastic. You're gluing flat pieces of plastic, the arm joints or whatever, to flat panels on the shoulders.
And back then, you're a kid, so you don't know about pinning and how much you need to do that for every fucking model.
I had no idea about pinning. I had no idea about proper amounts of glue to use for these. I remember when I was a kid building these things, I'd fucking glue my fingers together all the fucking time.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
No. So the cool thing was every one of these orc, there was a different range for pretty much every clan. And I would love to be able to get, namely the Blood Axes, but especially the Storm Boys. I love the old, quasi-Nazi, giant jetpack Storm Boys models.
You heard it here first, listeners. Campbell loves Nazis.
I love Nazis. I just do. I have to, oh, fucking. All right, I need to find a way to make that a joke without just making it sound like I'm actually advocating for extremism.
Oh man, I think Richard Spencer lives down here in Alexandria. You could probably go hang out with him.
He would not see that coming. Oh Christ, just kill me now.
Yeah, well, what Campbell is trying to say. Oh, I just got to the Weird Boys page. I fucking love Weird Boys with the minders. Remember they came with the fucking minders, which are just slightly fatter orcs.
My favorite Weird Boy is the one holding the two guys holding the one Weird Boy like a cannon.
Oh, that's not in here.
That's a Rogue Trader. That's a real old
awesome.
one that I'd love to see
fucking
come
mech
back.
boys. They just got wrenches and shit.
Yep.
God, I love these models. I don't even play orcs. I don't have any plans to play orcs. That's bullshit. I want to play orcs so bad, but I don't have any plans to do it yet. And I would totally buy these if they brought them out.
Oh, so cool. I love the old Mega Armor knobs, the old Mega Armored orcs. Because there's ones in basically power armor where it's kind of more like not Space Marine levels of smooth, but it's much smoother, more contained looking things. But then there's the guys in Mega Armor who look a lot more like the Mega Armor knobs we know now, even for back then when things were less Mad Max. But they have this guy with a plasma cannon, and the thing is fucking huge and looks like a giant dick. Yes. And a friend of mine got one of these when he bought a lot on eBay years and years ago. And he pulls out the plasma cannon one, and the previous owner painted the plasma cannon pink with red veins coming out of it. So even now,
Horrifying.
we still know the story of the knob that he called Phallical Penis Man, the greatest of the Mega Arbor knobs,
The dick knob.
the most well endowed of the Mega Arbor knobs,
Whoa,
the
whoa,
knobbiest
whoa, whoa, whoa,
of knobs.
whoa. Knob. The
Yeah.
joke is already in there.
I know. That's why I said the knobbiest of knobs.
That's not like an American joke, really, but it's in there.
Yeah, he's knob end.
Wow. That's right,
That's
folks. We're bringing it back to dicks. We always do.
Ugh.
So after that, just all of the old metal Imperial Guard miniatures. I love all of them, especially Tallarn, the Tallarn Desert Raiders. I think you can get a lot of these still on the Games Workshop website, which is how I've gotten some of my Armageddon Steel Legion is by buying squads at Games Workshop on their website. So I think you can get some of them.
You can still buy squads of a lot of them and some special weapons, but the ones you can't get are the ones I kind of want to see come back the most, which are the old Cadians and the old Catachans.
Yes.
Because the old Catachans outclass the plastics by a mile, and they've got a ton of character. And the old Cadians, like, Victoria Lamb is kind of taken up. Like, she's made a whole market for not Cadian models because of how much people like those old ones compared to the new bucket helmet dudes.
Yeah, these old ones have so much more character. I mean, I
get
get
the
why they made them in like the plastic, very simple, whatever. But these, they just look so much cooler.
I love the fat lieutenant with the shotgun.
Oh my god, the officers
Yeah.
for the guard have so much more character and personality than they do now.
Because, like, the plastic command sets they're cool and everything, like, don't get me wrong, but, like, Colonel Chenkov and Al-Rahim and the fat lieutenant with the shotgun, I love those guys
Or
so
what
damn
about
much.
the fucking bald Catachan with the bolter with the
and a cigar in his mouth.
ammo belt and, like, fucking, he's fist pumping.
Yeah, and he's got a cigar in his mouth. That guy's amazing.
Or the Tallarn Desert Raider with the fucking sunglasses. That guy looks
Al-Rahim.
cool as shit.
Yeah, he's the best. Yeah, like...
Dude, I loved Mordians, man. The Mordian Iron Guard. I wanted them so bad.
So,
And then, Steel Legion came out like 2 years later, and I was like, well, fuck these guys. I got my dudes now.
oh, man. See, I would like to see... I feel like some people get salty about this, but I would like to see the made-to-order thing bring back some of the models that were limited edition or limited release back in the day. And yeah, some people get pissed about that. But if you remake, say, the Praetorians or some of the game, or like the Games Day 1993 Space Marine Captain or whatever, if you bring some of those guys back, like, some people will be pissed. Yeah. Some people will be pissed, but they're the same people who are pissed because they're selling them for $15 a figure on eBay. So fuck those guys. Bring them back.
The Praetorians were so fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. They're just head swaps.
They would
Ugh.
sell like ridiculously. That'd sell out
Yeah.
overnight.
No, that would justify the made-to-order program right there.
Oh my god, that would be so cool. Remember that guy at Nova that we saw who had the full metal Praetorian army?
And they're all painted in, like, 17th century English uniform colors or 18th century whatever.
They're really well painted too.
Yeah, they were. And his entire army was metal, and he had, like, all these metal Black Library models, too. Speaking of...
We should have made an attempt to hang out with that guy some more.
We should have. He would have had a lot more fun hanging out with us in the narrative.
Yeah. Oh god, his army was so cool.
So if we're... All right, let's do, like, two more choices for this because we could spend all day doing
Right, two
wish lists.
words, old assassins.
Yeah.
Old assassins. The new assassins are... I just think they're too much, man. Especially the Calidus.
Yeah, the poses are ridiculous.
The Christ pose.
Yeah.
It's just like the Vindicator doesn't do a bad job. I'm not a huge fan actually of putting scenery as a part of the model.
I hear you.
I don't really like that too much. So the new Vindicator does have like a big chunk of fucking masonry on his model.
Yep.
And of course the new Eversor is like running up a wall or some shit. I don't really think we need that. I love the old assassin models. I would buy if they re-release those. I'd buy all four.
Yeah. I mean, the new ones are cool, but yeah, the old ones has certain something. I liked the old Eversor more. His skull was a little more silly.
Those fucking assassins paint up real quick, dude.
They do. I also love I saw some guy paint he painted the assassins, but because they're like wearing the skin tight suits, he painted them all in flesh colors.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh, it looks so gross. Like,
oh no.
Big peach thighs. It's really weird. All right, so if I'm doing one of my two more Arbites, Adeptus Arbites, I don't care if you bring back the Rogue Trader ones, the Second Ed ones, or the Fnatic ones from Necromunda in the late 90s. I want them back in some capacity because those models, again, go for stupid money on eBay, and they're so damn cool. And they're Judge Dredd in space. Everyone knows they're Judge Dredd in space. They're legally distinct Judge Dredd in space. They're Judge Dredd with an A instead of the first D. But I want them back. A lot of people want them back. A lot of people love those models.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're fucking Carapace armor guys with shotguns and full face helmets. What is fucking cooler than that?
Yeah, and what better time is there to make toys out of militarized police forces?
Oh no!
Ripped from the headlines, the 40k Badcast.
Oh, stay current with the 40k Badcast. Oh boy. Are they Arbites or are they Arbites?
I say Arbites because it's arbitrator. That's it. It's arbitrator.
But it's custodes or custodes. It's not
custodians.
It's not custodes. It's not custards.
It's not custards?
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, you know what? Write us, listeners.
Right? Yeah. Tell us we're wrong.
Contact at 40kbadcast.com. Tell us we're stupid.
Tell us we're wrong. Call us a bunch of gits or jits, depending how you feel like me mispronouncing it today. And yeah, tell us we're wrong.
Nobody says jits. God, you're so bad at this. All right, well, let's move on, man.
Yeah.
Also, guys, if you want to have a conversation with us about old models or if you want to take a trip down memory lane, contact at 40kbadcast.com, or you can find both of us on Twitter. We'll talk about that at the end of the show, how you can reach us directly. But have that conversation with us. We'd love to talk to you about it.
Sir, I can talk about this shit actually all day.
We've done it, you and I.
Yeah, we have.
Well, I mean, we also do a fucking podcast together, but that's what really brought this podcast going. So, you know what? Let's move on. Let's move on to the meat and the potatoes of today's episode.
The spoiled meat and mashed potatoes.
Spoiled meat and mashed potatoes. We're going to talk about Nurgle.
So I'm going to get this started here with an excerpt from Lost in the Damned.
Please do.
Nurgle is the great lord of decay and the master of plague and pestilence. His carcass is riddled with disease and infestation. Nurgle is also the lord of all because all things, no matter how solid and permanent they may seem, are liable to physical corruption. Indeed, the very processes of construction and creation foreshadow destruction and decay. The palace of today is tomorrow's ruin, the maiden of the morning is the crone of the night, and the hope of a moment is but the foundation stone of everlasting regret.
It's pretty bleak, man.
It's 40k in a nutshell, man. Nurgle is, I say, the patron god of 40k as a setting.
Really?
Well,
before we get into our opinions, why don't you take a second and break down of who or what is Nurgle?
So Nurgle, as mentioned, is the god of decay, and he is emblematic of entropy, rot, aging, sickness, and in its own sick way, life. So, because if everything's dead, Nurgle has nothing to experiment on with all his plagues. He gets his enjoyment from devising plagues, devising sicknesses, poxes, and so on in his garden in Space Hell, and unleashing those on the populace of the universe, on mortals, especially humans.
I think he considers death just a part of the cycle of life. Like life and death are part of the same thing.
And the life when someone is struggling to not die, namely against one of his diseases, is when life is sweetest.
The survival.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting to me because Nurgle is kind of contradictory in a lot of ways, where he embodies sloth and he embodies stagnance and he embodies inaction, but at the same time he's embodying growth and consuming and recycling and rebirth and all these different things. But the thing that I like most about Nurgle and the followers of Nurgle is temperament. In 40k, it's pretty fucking bleak, man. It's really bad.
Oh yeah.
And Nurgle gets a lot of followers out of humans in the Imperium that are just like, you know what, fuck it, man. This sucks. It's bad for everyone. So why not have a little fun? Why not embrace death, embrace the fact that we're all decaying. Embrace that this Imperium is decaying, that this galaxy is decaying. Embrace all of it. And by that, freeing yourself. I think it's really interesting.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing is also like no one goes, you know what? I want to get really fat and gross with my organs dumping out of my stomach and my eyes morphing into one eyeball. Like people don't just go like, I want to be gross. I'm going to stop taking showers and worship Nurgle. Although if you go to Pandemonium Books and Games in Cambridge, Massachusetts, you'll think otherwise. But the thing is, whenever someone wants to live, they are feeding him. And acts of self-preservation, in a way, feed you towards Nurgle. When you pray to have one more day of life when you are sick, when you pray for your child to get over their fever, you are feeding him.
Well, that's kind of what happens in the book Flight of the Eisenstein in the Horus Heresy series, is that one injured Death Guard dude, he has, some horrible poison and disease running through his body, and he gets to the point in his own inner monologue where he says, I just want this to stop. I'll give up anything. Just make it stop. And that's when Nurgle steps in and says, you know what, pal? Have I got a deal for you?
Yeah.
And then Nathaniel Garrow slaps him down because Nathaniel Garrow is the fucking man.
And then he fucks off to Earth.
We'll get to Death Guard in a minute because Death Guard are, even though they're horrible fucking traitors, I still kind of like them. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Nurgle demons.
All right. Well, you want to work your way from the top or from the bottom?
Let's go bottom up.
All right, so let's start at the very bottom with Nurglings. These are little, gross, shitty, bloated, 2-foot-tall, happy little pustules with smiling faces, mischievous attitudes, and they look like little, great, unclean ones.
They're like Gretchen or Grotz, almost. They're having fun.
Yeah, and there's some ancient... This is like ancient fluff that I'm sure is no longer canon, but like... A Nurgling finds its way into your house, and it'll just start spoiling your milk and stealing precious jewels, and then giving you gifts, of which are namely poxes and plagues and stuff
diseases.
Like that.
Yeah, that's followers of Nurgle consider disease and the myriad of different horrible diseases that Nurgle has created as his gifts.
And your cries of pain as your sound of thanks.
Yeah, your prayers.
So, do you know how, again, this is another thing about Nurglings, they're also known as mites of Nurgle or pus spores back in the day, which I don't think is canon anymore, but essentially they grow inside the bowels of great unclean ones and are birthed from them. So they get pooped out.
There's a lot of poop imagery in Nurgle stuff. Nurgle demons are almost uniformly bloated, cyclopean, disgusting, rotting messes.
Yeah, with like guts hanging out of their bellies and like weird gaunt limbs and club feet and just every sick. If you just do a good Google image search for deformation, you'll find something that would seem at home.
Don't
there.
do that.
Don't do that. But
please don't do that. You're gonna ruin your day. Just trust us that it's gross. One of Nurgle's images that's most associated with him is the fly, and flies play a big part in not just the appearance of Nurgle, but the manifestations. You'll read, probably one of the Gaunt's Ghost books, but or one of the Sanctus Reach, maybe Sanctus Reach, I don't know, one of the short stories I read where the harbinger of a Nurgle demon invasion was a fuck ton of flies feeding on corpses.
Yep, and Nurgle's icon, the 3 circles, is a super abstract fly. And if you look at like Death Guard models, a lot of them have a fly icon as their shoulder pad like icon for Death Guard now.
Right. So up from Nurglings are plague bearers, which are your basically man-sized demons that are spindly limbed, bloated monstrosities with swords or knives that drip with ichor. Polluted ichor that infects whoever they stab with them. And then plague drones are up there. Those are giant bloated flies. Remind me a lot of bot flies. You know about bot flies?
I don't.
They're a tropical fly species that lays its eggs on mosquitoes. And when mosquitoes land on an animal, a mammal, the eggs will sense the body temperature of the mammal and drop off. and then burrow into the skin of the mammal.
Oh, that's fucking foul.
And then they hatch into a larva, like an inch-long grub that eats the flesh of the animal that it is its host organism, and then hatches as a fly.
Dude, my apologies to anyone who is eating while listening to this show. That's fucking foul, man.
Well, never eat while you're listening to the Badcast.
No, man.
No, I was on a trip in Costa Rica, and a friend of mine got. I'm not going to say his name because he might get embarrassed, but he got a botfly infection or infestation. It was only one. Infestation sounds like it's more than one, but it was only one, and he had to go get it surgically removed.
All right, I'm firmly taking Costa Rica off my list of vacation destinations.
Because like they have like hooks and stuff, so you can't just yank them out.
Of course not.
Yeah, so pretty gross.
All right, so yeah, that's the good shit.
It's the Nurgle episode, pal.
Oh, it's foul, man.
You weren't ready.
Oh, dude, I'm never ready.
Okay, so also they have a couple of slug dudes.
beasts.
They have the Beasts of Nurgle,
right.
which make it into a lot of games because the Beasts of Nurgle are even in Blood Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, Nurgle has a team. They're actually pretty good. They're a bashy team. They're slow. You can run around them if you've got a faster team, but they're tough and strong.
So Beasts of Nurgle are characterized, again, like I'm going off the fluff I have here, as basically big dumb puppy dogs who just want to spread love around to all their masters, and then their masters go limp and they're boring now, so they go find other ones. So they're not necessarily savagely ripping people apart intentionally. They're going to go play with that guy, and now he's dead, so time to find someone else to play with. I have no idea what the model represents because, like, I look at the model and I don't even know what I'm looking at.
It's a slug. It's like a mutated slug guy.
It's like a slug tree frog thing.
It's a slug tree frog thing.
The Nurgle plague toads from Forge World are what I would use for Beasts of Nurgle.
I love those.
If I was going to do Nurgle, I would use those models instead.
I love those models. They're great. Great Unclean Ones are the greater demon for Nurgle. They're just large, fat, disgusting disease carriers.
They're also known as Stench Lords.
I've met a couple of those in game stores. Those are good. Corpulent is a good word to describe the Great Unclean Ones.
So
do you think when they were making this up, they were like specifically calling out like one dude that they knew? Like, when the Games Workshop guys were writing this stuff, like they're like, fucking Johnny.
Dude, no, the dude's name was probably like Neil Green. They're like, how can we put that name together? Nurgle. Yeah, fuck Neil. So, Great Unclean Ones look like Nurgle himself. Like, they are straight up one-to-one manifestations of what he looks like, just much smaller. And their followers will actually call them Papa Nurgle, or Father Nurgle, or what have you. And he understands he is not Nurgle, but people treat him as such, because he is a walking avatar of that god. Yeah,
well, just like the other Chaos gods, the look of the Nurgle demons is very well established and very constant throughout the models. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the best models, demon models around, are the Nurgle demons. They're gross.
They do exactly what they need to do.
They're really gross. The Forge World Great Unclean One. Almost everybody has one. Anybody who plays Nurgle, almost everybody has one. It's just this enormous, fat, gross with like those like real like heavy looking limbs.
Yeah,
just disgusting.
And his spine cracking out through his back.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I always had a hard time visualizing how that model moves until I played Dawn of War 2, the PC game. If anyone's ever played that, bunch of people played it. Who am I kidding about? But that thing is like the big like uber unit the Chaos Marines get in that game, and seeing that thing move and just like make gross noises all the time is so sickening. It's just swaying and jiggling everywhere it goes. It's foul.
I feel like the Great Unclean would move like that fucking fat raccoon on that video, and he just does somersaults. So he just like roll. Oh man, how do you not love Nurgle? So, more interestingly than I think the demons, Nurgle also, just like every other Chaos God, just like Slaanesh gets the Emperor's Children and the Noise Marines, Nurgle gets the Death Guard and the Plague Marines, which are a type of Marine. Now, we were talking about this before the show. Pretty sure all Death Guard are Plague Marines, but not all Plague Marines are necessarily Death Guard, correct?
Yeah, I think that's true. If we're wrong, fuck you, Jitskits, whatever.
So this might be more your wheelhouse to talk about the Death Guard because you're more of a 30k guy than I am. But as far as I understand it, Death Guard were made famous during the pre-heresy times as heavy infantry that would not give ground. They were the toughest. They would go to the hardest and shittiest part of the battlefield and stay there and make it their home.
It's not that different from the Iron Warriors in a lot of ways.
Well, I think the Iron Warriors were more of they fortified things.
Yeah, they still died in the trenches more than most other people for no glory. But that's kind of the whole thing. Like Mortarion, his whole thing is he never felt like he got the glory. He never felt like he got the credit, even to the point where basically felt like he came up on what was his Barbarous? Barbarous.
Yeah. He came up on Barbarous and like his adoptive father figure or whatever was the bad guy basically, who is like some sort of like horrible psyker who was doing crazy pollution on the world and killing all the regular people. And didn't Mortarion try to rise up against him?
He did. When he went down and he actually met the people down there and saw people who looked like him and acted like him, he realized he was on the wrong side of things. So when he tried to fight the actual Big Bad, he couldn't make it.
Didn't Big Bad kick his ass? And then the Emperor stepped in, right?
And the Emperor stepped in, and Mortarion always felt that victory was stolen from him, which is kind of the start of some of the animosity there that led to them splitting off during the heresy.
Well, I gotta say, in the defense of the Emperor, which I'm always ready to do for anything, Mortarion didn't help himself that much during the heresy.
No, he didn't make many friends.
It seems to me that he just sort of threw his legion into meat grinders, and then got pissed when people didn't recognize how good they were. Mm-hmm. When you're up against the tactical brilliance of Horus, or the incredible armsmanship or whatever of Leman Russ, or the beautiful creations of Raboot Gilliman, or even the tactical perfection of everybody's favorite fuckboy Fulgrim. He's just throwing his men into meat grinders. They practice a very brutal form of attrition-based war, and then he's complaining about not getting glory, and he feels envious of other Primarchs or the Emperor or something, and not getting glory. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, I would say.
So he's also a dude named Mortarion using a scythe, wearing a gas mask, from a plague planet, leading an army called the Death Guard, and people are surprised he turned out to be a heretic.
I mean, okay, but fucking...
He kind of brought that himself.
But fucking Russ has a goddamn legion of werewolves.
Yeah.
And he turned out all right. And honestly, Magnus, who is a complete fucking piss boy, but like he tried to do the right thing, and he's a giant fucking Cyclops monster.
Yeah, and Mortarion never really tried to do the right thing as far as I'm aware.
No, he just threw in with fucking... Now, okay, one thing I do understand about Mortarion is that he, like, the only person who hates Psychers more than Mortarion is Russ, and I think Mortarion actually might hate Psychers more than Russ.
But he also is a Psyker himself, which gets you in a real tough headspace.
Yeah, well, literally. But it's like, it seems to me like a lot of the shit that he was mad about was just like, the Emperor's like, well, this is how it is. And Mortarion's like, I don't really like this. Emperor's like, don't care what you think. And then Mortarion was like, okay. All right, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see, buddy. So the Death Guard. The Death Guard are one of my favorite pre-heresy legions. The look of the Death Guard is awesome. Though I actually like the look of the Dusk Raiders more.
Yeah, which is what they were before they were the Death Guard.
And they had their right arms of their armor was painted red because they were the red right hand of the Emperor, which is
nice Nick Cave reference there.
Which is a really badass piece of imagery. So Mortarion comes in, takes over, and schools them on this type of warfare that is just the absolute worst. And they take a lot of pride in being able to sustain all the damage that they sustain and survive through the worst parts of the battlefield.
They also don't maintain their equipment, really. They let it rust. They let the paint chip. They just let it...
Oh, they don't adorn their equipment either.
Exactly. They don't care about that. They just care about as long as it works, they don't care.
The only rule is it has to work, which is very pragmatic. I'd say up with the Iron Warriors, they're probably the most pragmatic of all the legions. So Mortarion voluntarily follows Horus into rebellion.
Yeah.
And through that gets corrupted literally by Nurgle.
Well, that's largely Typhus's fault, because if I recall, Typhus kills all the navigators in the fleet and says, "You guys are following me." Takes them, they take a wrong turn at Albuquerque, end up in plague space. The entirety of the Legion gets sick to this deathly plague, and flies start flying into the ships, and the ships themselves corrupt, and they make a deal with Nurgle to not die.
That's how you do it. That's how he gets you.
Yep, and to this day, Typhus leads his plague ship, the Terminus Est, with his his destroyer hive that flows down those gross bony spines in his back, and he goes all over the universe and just touches different planets with different plagues.
That's one of the best models Games Workshop has ever produced. Fucking Typhus.
I love that many.
The fucking horn on the Terminator, the single rhino horn on the Terminator with the fucking scythe. God, and what a great model.
And the Boba Fett visor on his helmet.
Yeah, so fucking cool. The people who play Nurgle armies, for the most part, love their Nurgle armies, and they paint the shit out of them and into them.
Yeah.
A great example, our friend Jason Wolf from Philly. He's got an amazing Nurgle army. You get to do so many fun things with paint for Nurgle. So many greens and yellows and browns, and you can do a lot of mixing of glossy and matte stuff to make things look wet or pussy or gross or whatever else. Just a ton of really cool modeling and painting opportunities.
Because it's an interesting army because of how it scales as far as technique goes when it goes to painting it, because no one's painting them neat. If you're painting a Death Guard army neat, whether it's pre-heresy or post-heresy, it's not done yet. I don't think I've actually ever really seen a clean Death Guard army.
I remember before 30K became a thing, there were some people that would do pre-heresy armies.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing, probably on like Bow of Lost Souls or something, somebody's pre-heresy Death Guard that was very clean with the white and the green. And looked beautiful, looked good. It's a great scheme. I think now that we've fleshed out the Death Guard more and more, and the fact that they don't adorn their armor with anything, they don't clean themselves out really. They maintain their weapons, but that's about it. You get that chipped and nasty look to it.
And it's an army where if you're not a terribly skilled painter, you can get some washes and some dry brushes, and you can have a good-looking Death Guard force. But if you're a really good painter, you can go to town on all the chipping and all the weathering, and use weathering powders, and you do sponge weathering and salt weathering, and make this army look fucking incredible. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how they play. So Nurgle, in 40K at least, the Mark of Nurgle, which you can apply to your troops, gives people +1 toughness.
By and large, yeah.
Plague Marines get Feel No Pain, and other special characters or Nurgle stuff, they all get Feel No Pain in addition to all their saving throws. And a lot of the demons get shrouded because they're covered in flies, dense clouds of flies. So the whole idea is that they're extremely tough. Nurgle demons are not particularly great in combat. They're not particularly great spellcasters or psychers, but killing them is tough as shit.
There's a reason that every competitive shitter I've played against just takes a few squads of Plague Bears and sticks them on objectives in the backfield because they know you'll never be able to kill them with shooting.
Or how about fucking Nurgle Obliterators? Nurgle Obliterators are like one of the most common units you'll find in the Chaos, competitive Chaos Space Marine list, because they're toughness 5/2 and Terminators. They don't
And,
get doubled out by anything except like fucking demolishers and death strikes and D weapons.
Yeah, and Nurgle Beasts of Chaos get toughness 6, so even though they have no save, they're moving fast and they take shitloads of hits, or chaos spawn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and toughness 6, it means that they can't get doubled out unless, they can still get killed by things with instant death, but so few weapons have that.
Yeah.
And there's no strength 12.
Yeah, but if you were really to boil it down, like, Nurgle's main things are poison, feel no pain, extra toughness. That's really the main crux there, because you'll see that in every unit.
What that does is it takes, one of the most important game mechanics, wounding, and makes it harder. Like, I play guard, so if there's a unit of death guard in front of my guardsmen with las guns, I'm thinking, fuck, man, I'm wounding on 6s.
Yeah, you might kill one.
Right, yeah, a whole squad kills one, maybe. It's a lot different than taking on Space Marines where you're wounding on 5.
Yeah, that one pip makes a big difference. But conversely, since they all have, like, even Plague Marines have Plague Knives, which are just a 4-up poisoned knife that'll let them poison anything, like up to a Wraith Lord, and not have a problem with it.
Yeah, so what it turns into, Nurgle is probably, game-wise, at least, the best Chaos God to have an army for.
I think that's been true for quite some time, because while, like, Khorne gives you bonuses in Assault, that's only part of the game.
And it's a hard part of the game. It's hard to have good assault armies right now, what with fucking Overwatch and all the bullshit that's going on. Not, again, as a guard player, not that I'm complaining that hard, but it's a facet of the game that has gotten considerably duller in the last couple of editions.
And then, like, Slaanesh gives you bonuses to speed and initiative, which is useful, but not always useful. Tzeentch gives you invulnerable saves and magic, which are useful only in some circumstances, but you are always going to want more toughness.
Real fucking good now, dude.
But you're always going to want extra toughness. You're always going to want feel no pain. And the poison stuff is just a nice bonus. Shrouded, just a nice bonus.
So one of the favorite things to do is take Nurglings, sit them on an objective, and they will never leave.
Well, Plague Bears. Nurglings are a swarm and can't carry hold objectives.
That's right. Plague Bears, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Nurglings. Or Plague Marines, even. You put Plague Marines in a fucking in ruins. Good luck getting those assholes out of there.
They're not leaving.
Plague Marines also can't take heavy weapons, but they get 2 special weapons, which is fucking better.
Yep.
Like, oh, my Plague Marines in this Rhino rolled out, and they got 2 plasma guns. Fuck your Terminators. Fuck, god damn it.
Yeah, no, Plague Marines are good. They've been great for 3 editions now.
There are a couple of formations that just involve Nurgle stuff. They have a quote-unquote Decurion formation out of the new Trader's Hate, or Trader Legions supplement, which I'm not going to get into a whole lot because it's a lot of words, but it looks pretty cool. Looks like it's probably very, very useful. I'm seeing one thing. Disgustingly Resilient is a rule. Units from this detachment can re-roll Feel No Pain rolls of 1, which is pretty darn good. Also, they get more Stealth and Shrouded for flies. They also get a ton of, well, not a ton, but your standard amount of artifacts, chaos artifacts, for, again, from the Trader Legion supplement. And most of them are around melee weapons that poison stuff. I see a lot of poisoned 2+. The Pandemic Staff, that's a good one. Yeah, a lot of their stuff is like strength 1 or strength nothing, but it's poison 2+, which is pretty fucking nasty. And then they have one formation that I have been able to find, at least, called the Plague Colony, which is just one formation. It's a Chaos Lord or Typhus. I imagine they probably have to have the Mark of Nurgle if it's not Typhus. And 3 to 7 Plague Marine units.
Nasty. Always take 7.
They cause fear, which is mostly useless.
Situational.
But they have something called the Enervating Pestilential Aura. Enemy models within 7 inches, thematic, of any Plague Colony units at the start of this fight subphase must reduce initiative and weapon skill by 1. And then if they have the maximum number of units, it also adds toughness reduction by 1 for units within 7 inches. So, as we said earlier, Death Guard or Plague Marines popping out of a Rhino with a couple of plasma guns is their main strategy. And they like to get close. So within 7 inches, not hard to do. Imagine a squad of Death Guard unloading on Toughness 3 Marines.
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll do it real good.
And as you like to say, they're fucking Dunyan rings.
Yeah, they are dunzos.
It's real bad.
So one more like weird kind of edge case unit is with Typhus. You can turn Chaos Cultists into zombies because Typhus brings with him the zombie plague.
Yep.
But it's like, okay, you can take away their guns and give them 2 close combo weapons, and they're zombies now. Which it's weird because it's a unit without an actual official model. Like you can use the GW zombies, which are kind of a shitty old kit, and convert your own. But I think that's a very cool thematic Nurgle-y thing to take that I'm surprised they don't exploit more.
Yeah, that's well, Campbell. You've seen pictures from that Death Guard video they released.
I have.
There are models coming up of what look like cultists, of Nurgle cultists.
Yeah, Plague cultists or something.
They
like
will be getting models soon. I mean, they're gonna get a whole new Death Guard set.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get the like we just talked about the Plague cultists or whatever, and they're gonna get a Mortarion.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if I think there were Terminators in that video too that looked a lot like the Putrid Blight King models from Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got because they just recently did this with Thousand Suns with Magnus and Ahriman and new models and Zangors. So I would only imagine they're going to be doing the exact same thing with all the Chaos Gods. And next up, we're getting Is Nurgle. I don't know when that drops, but they showed a video of what looked like completed and completely painted models at Adepticon. So I can't imagine it's too far out.
Hope not, because man, that's it's not my army, but man, that's good looking models.
I wonder what the Mortarion's going to look like.
Terrifying, I bet.
God, he's a force, man. That's one of the better Primarchs in my book, even though he's a heretic.
You have any other thoughts about Nurgle?
I think if you're an active 40k player, you've seen a lot of Nurgle and a lot of Nurgle units, just because they're so good. I like that there's an element of humor to Nurgle, and people in the community, they grab onto that, and Nurgle is like almost like a friendly thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the people who are really into Slanesh stuff can be a little intense.
A little creepy.
People who are really into corn stuff like to yell and not wear shirts at Adepticon. And people who are really into Tzeentch are Skeletor. So it's Nurgle, like, there's so many in-jokes you can make about, all the fat, shitty hobbyists that are around in our hobby, in our community, that smell bad and look terrible and whatever. And it's to me, though, Nurgle is more of like the whole everything sucks, so let's just accept it and try to have some fun with it. And I kind of enjoy that take on 40k.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, I think that Nurgle is kind of the patron god of 40k as a setting, because like the Imperium is like a crumbling bureaucratic nightmare where stagnation is rampant, innovation is forbidden, and even the Aquila itself is only looking backwards. Like, it's not looking forwards. It's locked in this cycle of decay, and that's why I think Nurgle is really the god of choice for 40k.
All right, let's move on. I think we have an announcement to make.
If you guys remember, a few episodes ago, we did something called the 40k Book Club. In that, we talked about Mitchell Scanlon's 15 Hours. Loved it.
Great novel.
And
great novel.
And we got a lot of feedback from people. So basically, the idea is, with 40k Book Club, we read a book, and you guys read along with us. And in a few episodes, we will talk at length about the show, about the book on the show. We'll spoil everything. We'll analyze what happens. We'll talk about what happens, see how it relates to 40k, and what we think of it. So think of it as like an extended book review / book club.
It's called the 40k Book Club, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, who'd have thought? So the main piece of feedback we got last time was that we didn't give people long enough to actually read along. So this time we're going to do, instead of just 2 episodes before the book club, or instead of just 1 episode before the book club, we're going to do 2 episodes before the book club. So the due date for this is May 23rd. That's when we're planning on recording the actual book club episode, and the episode should be releasing sometime that week. And the book we are announcing is Cadian Blood by Aaron Dembski Bowden.
ADB.
The big ADB. This is his first book for Black Library, and it's really raw and gritty, and it's about this regiment of the Imperial Guard who has to fight in a planet that has been ravaged by a mysterious plague, and you'll never guess who's behind it.
I'll never guess.
But you'll read.
But I'll read. I'm actually really excited for this one because I haven't read any Aaron Dembski Bowden books, ADB books, yet. And I've heard, everybody keeps telling me how good he is, so I'm really excited to take a crack at this one.
He is bar none my favorite Black Library author, above Dan Abnett even.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't say that easy.
But Abnett fucking rules, man.
Abnett rules. He's written so many good books, and God. ADB, I feel like, eclipses him. I feel like this is not his absolute best work, but this is a really, like, after I read this book, I was like, I'm going to keep track of this guy, because this book's fucking good.
All right, man, I'm pumped. I'm torqued.
So, yeah.
Turgid.
You are turgid, you are twerking, you are raring and randy to go. So we will be, again, due date on this is May 23rd. You should be able to pick copies of this up used or somewhere on eBay or Amazon. It's not, I don't think it's currently in print, but they might have the ebook out there. It's a great book. It's a pretty quick read. It's just a little novel, and we'll be talking about it then, and we may even have a special guest star on hand to talk about the book.
A special guest star?
A special guest star, yeah.
Man, who could that be?
It could be you.
Well, no, I'm not a guest on my own.
No, I was. That was bad radio. I was pointing at the screen.
Oh, okay.
Because at the 40k Badcast, you're all stars to us.
Oh, hey now, you're an all-star. All right, man. I think it's almost time to fucking slap this horse on the ass and send it back to the stable.
Yep. So before we go, we have everyone's favorite segment, Fact or Fan Fiction.
Do you have some?
Oh, I've got a good one right here.
Oh, give it to me, because I'm worth it. We're still doing that.
We're still doing that, apparently. Oh, God. Fuck you for making me aware of that song.
It's a great song, and I know you love it. I know you listen to it all the time now.
A lot of butts in that video. A lot of butts.
Oh, man. I know how much you like those. See, I'm trying to help you.
You are. You're enabling me.
I'm enabling you. All right, read it.
The Tyranid warrior within the pod awoke, and using its psychic powers, it attempted to contact the hive mind. It found nothing, not even so much as a whisper. The creature, being designed to work alone, found itself more alone than it could ever be. It always had contact with the hive mind, always. Now, it was completely alone. But somehow, it did not turn into a mindless creature as it would normally have. Its time in the warp, both an instant and an eternity, had changed it. It no longer needed a hive mind. It was, for all intents and purposes, a sentient creature in its own right. It reared back one of its scythe claws and tore through the shell of the pod. It stumbled outwards onto its new home. It looked around, seeing an expanse of trees before it in all directions. Moving forwards on two-hooved legs, it stalked further into the forest, unknowingly moving towards a nearby town, known to the locals as Ponyville.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, you had to, didn't you?
I did have to.
Oh, God, I feel like filthy now.
Yeah.
At least tell me, like, the Tyranid warrior had, like, murdered all the fucking ponies.
So unfortunately, that's all the person wrote. I think that's where it was supposed to go. But I have a feeling that's what was supposed to happen.
Fucking, you know what that is? That's fucking headcanon.
That is headcanon. That's fanon.
Yeah, that is legit.
That is The Lost Beast by Hunter Mjolnir, which I'm surprised they didn't have a more Brony-esque name. I'm actually kind of impressed.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I'm glad I could disappoint you, Dan.
Do you know how to? You really do know how to find them, don't you?
I'm not even gonna tell you how much time I've spent looking into this shit.
Okay. Well, you know what? That's going to do it for us, guys. You can reach us on social media. You can email us at contact@40kbadcast.com. You can find us on iTunes if you're not already fucking doing that, or Google Play. Give us reviews while you're at it. Just pulled up our reviews on iTunes, and we have a few here. We got a couple new ones. including Coppercod, who says, great podcast, despite sadly deluded 3rd Legion hating host. Coppercod, thanks for the review, but I am not deluded. The 3rd Legion sucks. We also got a new one from Diggity Dylan. Dylan? I'm going to go Dylan. I happily cram this in my ear holes every week. And Diggity, we will love to help you cram whatever you want in whatever holes you want whenever you want it. So you can also find us on Twitter. I am DB_sleazy on Twitter. If you like baseball, fucking follow me. Campbell, they can find you, right, on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm at Brother SRM. I mostly make shit posts about leather jackets.
You can also find Campbell's YouTube series at Camhammer Show on YouTube.
YouTube.com/Camhammer Show. I put out a video every 2 weeks about Warhammer things, and they tend to be a little more professional and chill out in this, but it's good stuff. I've got a video on Adepticon coming out this week with shitloads of cool footage, so you guys should check that out.
You also did a video about the Badcast on your channel, and you credited me as your boy Dan Boyd. So that's what I'm going to go as now for the rest of my life is your boy Dan Boyd.
In all caps.
In all caps. All right, I think you've got an inspirational quote for us.
Look upon me and know that I can slay you at will. You have no defense save one, to look into the darkness at the back of your own mind. There, you will find Father Nurgle, waiting to offer you life in return for your submission. Deny him, and you are mine.
Oh, we didn't do fucking demon names.
Shit.
All right, well, let's do that real quick.
So, in the tradition of our one other episode about Chaos Demons so far, I also came up with a few lovely demon names for us to use on the show.
All right, what did you roll up for me?
So, Dan, your demon name.
My Nurgle demon name this time.
Yeah, your Nurgle demon name.
Because I'm already Cold Gore Hack Canker for my Slaneshi demon name.
Yeah. Your name is Mucus Suck Sword Blister.
What?
You hear that? Mucus Suck Sword Blister.
Oh no. Mucus Suck Sword Blister. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm Lip Flesh Throb Blister.
Lip Flesh Throb. We're the Blister Brothers.
Blister Brothers. The Blister Brothers podcast coming at you live from straight out of nowhere, the center of everywhere.
Oh my god.
Lip Blaster.
Lip Blaster. Chaboy Mucus Suck over here. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Riding on the Lip Blaster 5000.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us, folks. I am Mucus Suck Sword Blister. He's Lip Blaster 5000. We'll see you next time on the 40k Badcast.
No,
I should have done this before the show, but I was at work, so...
Yeah.
Fuck you.